What's up, everybody? I am so excited because today I have the chance to interview Jason Charles Miller, singer, voice actor. I mean, just you kind of do it all. You're like the gourmand of music. It's actually it's amazing. Thank you for being here. I'm really looking forward to this. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
We're going to be listening to our Arcadian Floor 8 theme, Unleashed Together, which I'm really excited about. So I've never heard it. So I wanted to come into this with new ears because it's always fun. And then I just want to talk about, you kind of do it all. Like you go on tour, you sing incredible rock ballads. You also voice a bunch of things for voiceover and have your career. It's actually really interesting and inspiring for me. So we'll get into that.
Thanks.
Let's dive in. loved that. I mean, what a blast.
We almost got to the second chorus again, but you got a lot of it.
How does it feel for you? Now, this is like what, like the third or fourth song. Like, how does it feel now? Like, do you feel like you sort of tend to understand, like, and all of them have been kind of different. So I mean, like, what's it like working with Soken for you? Like, are you like a very much a part of the process? Like, are you coming in with the with the singing? Like, what's the sort of dynamic there?
Well,
now?
yes and no. So the song is completely written before it's sent
Right.
to me, and the lyrics are fully translated and sort of put into place. But what Soken lets me do is I will send many different variations, usually 3 to 4 full takes. And what I mean by that is full comped takes. Not like, oh, I'm going to sing it 3 times and send it. I work with 3 or 4 different approaches from beginning to end, and then comp it myself to make sure that that I'm fully satisfied with my performance. And then that gives him different options to choose from. So I sing one completely how it's written, and then others I do more embellishing, and then see what he likes.
So you get freedom in that regard.
I do. I mean, and ultimately it's his decision, but he gives me freedom to kind of try a few things, and then it's up to him what makes it in the final mix. When we do these songs live, he lets me kind of mess around a little bit too, which is fun as long as it stays within the spirit of the song.
You just got back from a tour, or you're going on a tour?
I was just on tour on the East Coast for my solo project. Yeah.
Do you feel like the in studio sort of recording, or like when you're in your booth or in the recording process for these songs, do you feel which of those feels freer to you? Like, which one do you like better? Or is it the same?
It depends. I mean, look, I love the interaction with a live audience more than anything. That being said, so many factors can interfere with your performance when you're on stage. And when I'm in the booth, at least I feel like I can get exactly what I need for the world to hear repeatedly, right?
Yeah.
Live, you could try something and maybe it doesn't work, or there's something wrong with your monitors and you can't quite hear something. I'm just thinking of all the different ways that things could go wrong, or like
the variables.
When I'm in my own band, whether it was Godhead or with my solo band, I broke a string halfway through. Then you're out of your you're out of your element at that point, and you're sort of not in the zone. You're thinking about the broken string.
Do you still get nervous, do you feel, for like those performances?
I do. I always get a little bit nervous, and then as soon as the song starts, then I'm not nervous
Slip
anymore.
in. The go mode.
It's like that, and then, here we go.
Yeah. Sadly, I know that all too well, yeah.
And like very specifically with the 14 performances, with the final, with the FF14 performances, I am fully aware of the significance of what these songs mean to the audience. Probably more so than any situation I've been in before. And so I always want to deeply respect that and make sure that not only is my performance the best that it can be, but also that the song is conveyed to the audience in the purest and sort of, I guess, most genuine, authentic way that it can be.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, it's like if you've heard To the Edge, let's say 30 times, 100 times doing the raids and stuff, then you when you see it live, it's like you want it to have that life, but you also want to retain that sort of like, this is how you heard it. And also, well, actually, that's a great question, though, because then with the Eorzean Symphony, being that was with the orchestra, was that a different experience for you than, say, like, something with the primals or your own personal stuff, where you're having to like tune in with the conductor and be, what was that like?
Yeah, the Eorzean Symphony concerts are I'm always more nervous for those.
Yeah.
And I'm always more. I'm a little more apprehensive over them, and I just I put more pressure on myself. Before the Eorzean Symphony, concert. I hadn't sung with an orchestra since I was in college, so I'm not a guy that goes around singing with symphonies on a regular basis. Where honestly, like my counterpart, Amanda Aiken, like she sings with symphonies all the time.
Yeah.
So, but I've got the advantage for when we do Primal's concerts because I'm like, this is my element now.
Zone, I know.
But we have fun. We have fun kind of teasing each other about stuff like that. But yeah, and I love them both. Like they're so different, and remember the arrangements are different. So then you have to think in your head, okay, well I know the rock band arrangement of Shadowbringers, but now it's the orchestra arrangement of Shadowbringers. It's the orchestra arrangement of To the Edge. Like I got to wait for the big chorus to come in behind me. There's a lot of things happening that, of course, rehearsal helps with. But they're just so different. But they're both equally as important, and they're both equally as I just take them so seriously because I know how seriously the audience takes it. What I like to do with my performances, my live performances, whether in either one, is for the first verse and the first chorus, I'm going to pretty much sing it how you know it. But then, if there's more room later on in the song, I'm going to put slight variations in there. And then if you're so used to hearing it in a raid and you hear me sing it slightly different, I think most people are like, oh yeah, of course, this is live. Like he's not going to sing it exactly the same.
Right.
And I have fun seeing the audience reaction for that too.
I mean, that's the beauty of it too. And also it probably changes also their own, their feeling on the piece, because it's amazing how like a couple notes like totally changes the structure of a piece, you know what I mean? The emotional integrity of the piece or whatever. It's awesome. So I'm a tenor, and are you technically a tenor as well, or because
I'm a tenor? I can hit the range of a tenor 1, but I can also be a baritone 1. So I'm probably like a tenor 2 with a wide range.
Yeah, an extension. I'm so bitter. It's fine. One of the most amazing things to me that maybe others don't necessarily pick up on is just, I mean, I think anybody can like celebrate like a range or like a high note, but like the way that I've actually thought about this, so it's actually great that you're here, because now I can ask you, like, how do you do it? Because like for me, I was trained as an opera singer for 15, a decade plus, and so like I know exactly how to approach upper register from the body, from the chest, low larynx, open throat, soft palate. How are you approaching, like, into the edge? There's that high C, I believe.
Right.
It's like,
so that's like power falsetto, right? So it's a little bit more than falsetto, but it's sort of a technique that I learned not from opera, because, by the way, I also took opera lessons for several years, classical voice. And, I've sung a few arias in my day, but nothing I can pull out of the hat right now. But I feel like everything that I learned from chorus, from choir, from private instruction back then, I apply to singing now. And what that's done is, back when Godhead was touring all the time, there was one time when we weren't home for 5 months. Which is kind of crazy. Like we had a friend like get our mail for us, and we were going from tour to tour to tour. Like we were on the Ozfest, we toured with Rammstein, we toured with Marilyn Manson, and then we were like just jumping from tour to tour to tour. Yeah. And people were like, "Well, don't you blow your throat out? Why aren't you like? Do you ever lose your voice?" And I go, "No, because I'm using the techniques that I learned when I was trained in classical singing, and I use those techniques to keep myself from losing my voice."
Right.
Because as long as you're not sick, and as long as you're singing the proper way, you should be fine every night. Get enough sleep and sing properly. What people get into trouble with is when they're singing improperly, when they're singing a note that hurts them.
Yep.
Right? That's how your recovery slows down.
Yeah.
So for that note into the edge, it is purely a falsetto note that I just throw a little bit of extra oomph into. almost like an 80s metal singer. That's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah.
And that's what you're hearing.
That's amazing. So basically it's flipping into head voice, and because you have a wonderful like a chest like lowered, like because I've even heard it in Unleashed, this sort of like looseness in like you know, that column of sound in the middle upper register, and then you're flipping into head voice. And if you don't know what this is, head voice is falsetto, essentially. Yeah. It's amazing. Like, I see. That makes so much sense.
There was, like, a lot of that in the late 80s and early 90s.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was in, like, junior high and high school at the time. But I remember, like, that was all the rage, you know, the real powerful, you know, but much louder than that.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
But, you know, that whole thing. And so when Soken sent me to the Edge, what usually happens is I will get sent either the full band recording or a in progress, like a work in progress. But the melody will usually be played on a piano or on a piano sound. And when it hit that note, and then all of a sudden it just went way up, he even said, you don't have to hit that if you don't want to. But I was like, I mean, it's there. That's how
Why
you
not?
wrote it. I want to do it. And I remember they were pleasantly surprised, you know, the team was pleasantly surprised that I could do it. And, you know, hey, a little bit of my fandom from, you know, listening to Whitesnake or something came through.
I mean, it really is an amazing thing, and I think people underappreciate, or they probably recognize, but they probably underappreciate how difficult it is to like full body, you know, even falsetto, full throat, like, and then consistently do it. That's like a very special thing that is only a select amount of people can do, you know.
Certain fans have come up to me like at FanFest and we've talked about like that note, you know. So I think that people do appreciate it, and I appreciate them acknowledging it.
How different is singing for something like Final Fantasy XIV versus some of the other stuff that you've done and do? Like, is there really like a difference? I mean, I suppose speaking on Unleashed, like, I mean, you know, you've got a breakdown, and I assume that you're always bringing a part of yourself and the emotion that you're trying to portray throughout any piece of music. But like, how is it? Did you have like a specific, like, I know we talked about you having a breakdown, but like, if a company provides you with a breakdown and they say, hey, you know, this character, this and this and this, are you changing the way you're singing in order to lean into that characterization? Like,
yes,
yeah,
1,000%. So I've had the really good luck of working with Soken twice already in 2025, because at the beginning of 2025, I sang on a song that he wrote for the wrestler Kenny Omega.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? I was given certain notes about, before I even recorded it, they're like, you know, we really want the strength and the power of, you know, of Kenny to be portrayed in your performance. And so I gave them like 3 different approaches almost completely. And it went from like, okay, I'm just going to sing it how I normally sing. I'm going to do one with a little bit more edge on it. And then I'm going to do one that I call the James Hetfield approach. And that's the lead singer of Metallica. And, you know, to have that real like, sort of in it. And I sent all those to Soken, and he basically chose the James Hetfield one for the Kenny Omega song "Take Flight."
Yeah.
For Howling Blade, I think they even said to me, "Hey, you don't have to sing it how you did Take Flight. Here's some notes about the character. Here's some notes about what's he's going through." And then when I heard the music, I mean, it's almost a dance song, right? Or it is a dance song.
Yeah.
And so it's a big departure from all the other songs we've done so far. I let the music inspire me. The takes that he picked for that specific one, I think, really match the energy of the music itself.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you hear like this guy is courageous and like like his life comes alive when he gets to step into the ring, right? And he gets to like, it actually is kind of tender. It's an emotional song about like purpose, isn't it interesting? I mean, like, it's crazy too, because as I was listening to it, I was like, this is just opera. Like, like it's just modern. It's a modern, and I often think of this about video games in general, is that like video games are modern operas minus the singing part, like, but the emotion is carried through the music, at least in a subtext way. I mean, and as a musician, like, what goes into expressing the self, like is it about self-expression? Is it about like getting others to be convinced about an emotion? Like what do you think, or maybe it's all of the above, but like what do you think when you're singing, whether it's this or your own personal stuff or on tour, like what is your intention?
Well, I mean, if I'm for Soken's song specifically, I want to know the intention behind his vision. Right. Yeah. And then hope that I can, match that and we can go together. I mean, it's a responsibility to convey to the listener what he's thinking and what the idea behind any specific song is. So that is a custodial role in certain ways, right? Where you're conveying the view of what has been written, and you want to make sure that you're doing it justice, right? If I'm singing a song that I've written, then it's a whole different thing, because I'm conveying to the audience directly something that I wrote and that I want them to feel, right out of me. And then when I'm singing somebody else's song, it's like more, I am a vessel and I'm a vessel and I'm representing them and their vision.
Music is such a vitally important part of, our lives. And a lot of people, don't necessarily, I fight this in my own journey where it's like, gaming is gaming, but music is actually not a sub niche of gaming. Music is a part of gaming, and right. Like these stories that you tell with Shadowbringers, To the Edge, whatever. Like those songs are a fundamental and important part of it. Yeah, I imagine. You've mentioned it several times. The gravity, the responsibility. Not only is it fun, but it's also like a responsibility to like make sure that people, and then also too, I know we're here about Unleash, but we're talking about To the Edge too. It's like, that song has a lot of weight to it for many different reasons for many different people. And
right.
How do you feel about like, yes, so you try to portray a character, but like, are you also bringing your own personal lived experience with a song? And then how do you feel about people then, whatever your interpretation is, how do you feel about people interpreting the song their own way? Like we don't really have ownership, do we? But I'm curious.
No, we don't. I think Trent Reznor famously talked about how when Johnny Cash covered his song Hurt, mm-hmm. right, he said, this is no longer my song, this is now a Johnny Cash song. This is now the world. Other people say like, this song is no longer mine, it belongs to the world. Yeah. Right? But tying in with the world of FF14 and knowing how much, when people that play it a lot, it becomes like a big part of their lives, right? And they have friends, family, people have met their husbands and wives playing the game.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
And, people have made lifelong friends playing the game. And that's something that is an extra dimension that I think about when I go to any of these events, because I know how much it means to them. Because if they play the game with such passion that they want to come to this event in person, then I know the gravity of that, and the weight of that is really important. But how amazing is it that, we can be in a place where there's, some 7,000, 11,000, some cases 30,000 people that all play the game together, that all sort of participate in this joined community.
Yeah.
It's, I feel incredibly lucky that I'm a tiny, tiny part of it.
It's astounding. It really is. It's miraculous. And I, in a totally different way, I can't even believe that you've performed for that. Like I think the most I ever performed were like 4,000 people. And I was like, okay, this is like,
what advice I give to people is I go, hey, listen, After the first 1,000 people, it doesn't matter how many more
It really
there
does.
are. You're not going to see them anyway. Just like play to the back of the back of the arena and just
It's all
just
just
do
like,
your best.
yeah. It is kind of a funny thing, isn't it? For anybody that's ever stood on stage, like when because you see the first like 30, 40, 50, maybe 100 people, and then you just, it's nothing. It's just a sea of, I mean, it must be so beautiful too when the Elpis flowers are out and like the bright blue of I mean, that must be really stunning. Well, tell the people what you got going on.
I mean, this.
Oh, you have it right there.
I
Oh,
got
that's
one.
So,
Yeah,
that's so.
Well,
gorgeous.
I'm at my little station that I stream to Twitch from every Monday and Wednesday, and so I kind of have a lot of items around, including that.
What do you got going on, like with the remainder of the year? Like what's coming down the bend?
Well, I have some more. Like I said, I just got back from a short East Coast tour, but my plan in the fall is to do some more touring in the U.S. I have a few one-off shows, a few convention appearances coming up. I just got back from MTAC. I guess check my website soon because more dates will be announced. And hey, fingers crossed we do some more Final Fantasy XIV stuff this year and next year.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, I have to say the most incredible thing is that we're really seeing this push, and hopefully it continues and doubles down. This push to promote and sort of like legitimize. Even though I think we're at a point where video game music, we're getting there, but I mean, legitimize these performances and have them be like on stage. So I'm hoping that maybe the 14 stuff is just gonna continue to just and then. Shoot, you might be too busy to do anything else. You know what I mean? Like, what an amazing thing, and an amazing time period to be in, where we have so many concerts, whether it's near, distant world, the Eorzean Symphony. Like, who knows? The sky's the limit when it comes to promoting video game music, and it's clearly like a thing that people are engaging with and feel very seriously about.
And also, I think there's such a camaraderie amongst the audience that goes too, that you can look to your left and look to your right and know, okay, these are people that are into the same thing as me. That
common interest.
And whereas, music used to kind of drive the culture of the world, and now so many different things drive culture. But when there's a video game that really like resonates with so many people, that can even drive the culture of just society.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. It's an amazing thing, and again, video games and video game music are continuing to evolve, and it's amazing how there's no there's no like, and actually that's there's no borders, there's no you can color outside the lines all the time. I mean, like, I mean, even the your stunning, like, sort of I guess rock. I don't know. I don't know what the sort of style. I feel like you're pretty diverse in how you sing, but like, the fact that we can combine orchestra with this incredible like 80s upper high C falsetto thing, like that's extraordinary. I mean, like that's not like, you know what I mean? Like,
I guess you're right. Yeah,
it's not normal that
people
no, and it's like the ability through with Soken and through you and through music from games to be able to like push the boundary of what. Because I've had non-gamer opera singers on my show, on my YouTube channel, and they've
how dare you? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right.
It's an amazing thing because they say like there's no genre anymore. We have the ability to do all this stuff.
Okay, so when I was growing up, you kind of had to pick a genre because you had to go physically buy it, right? Now, if I want to learn about jazz, I can Google jazz, figure out all of the best jazz players in every decade, listen to their music immediately, and become a jazz expert. But when I was coming up, it was like, okay, I'm at the record store now, and I'm going to buy a CD. Am I going to buy the new Ozzy Osbourne CD? Am I going to buy the new Scorpion CD? Am I going to buy, what am I going to buy? And you have to pick, because it's like $15 each or whatever. Now I can just be like, I'm going to listen to everything, So the genre that I do for my solo music now is, I roughly call it Southern rock. I grew up in the South, and I love that sound, which is really like blues based. But Godhead was straight up a rock industrial band, and I've put out several country albums as well. And then, from singing on, starting from the Guilty Gear soundtrack to then the Metal Gear Rising Revengeance soundtrack to then Final Fantasy XIV to then getting to write and record and sing on 3 songs in Cyberpunk 2077 to more 14 stuff, to the thing for Kenny Omega, to other projects that I'm working on. Star Trek Online hired me to write a song, and then it got translated into Klingon, and then the actress that played L'Rell on Star Trek Discovery came in and sang the song in Klingon. And then that appeared as a promotion for the game. So, I'm so lucky that I've been able to do all these really fun things and things that I feel like, make a difference in certain people's lives anyway. And that's a heavy thing, and also I'm extremely lucky.
I mean, also considering the fact that really strong male vocals are not something that predominates video games on the whole. It's usually, the celestial voice soprano, the beautiful dulcet. So the fact that here we have you with like a powerful masculine vocal energy, it's an incredible thing. You know what I mean? Like it's... Because I remember I asked a composer, and I was like, "Hey man, what's the deal with the no male vocals?" Like, I'm ready to go, man. Like, what's the deal? And he was like, "Well, they're really hard to put in because they're in the same range as like whatever." And I'm like, "Man, come on, we need more strong male voices in here." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's awesome how much you've been able to just like really stamp your the print of you, Jason Charles Miller, like on video games. And that's not even including your acting stuff, which we didn't even really get to talk about. But I mean, you've really like created this lifestyle of variety, which is fascinating to me as a person who was exclusively opera for a decade, and then now does voiceover YouTube, and now I'm coming out of retirement for various things here and there. So it's like, as a singer, so it's like, it's amazing. I mean,
you're putting the band back together?
just these 2 little things. I gotta go warm up. These 2 little guys right here, these chords. Yeah. They're like, "Stop, Dad! I'm too tired." It's like I hit a low F the other day. I was like, "Oh no, it's over for me. My high C days are done."
Well, now you're a baritone or a bass.
That's right. Now I'm
new chapter is born.
But seriously, like, it's without blowing too much smoke, I think I really have immensely enjoyed, your singing, and like how you bring forth that emotion through like strong, and obviously in the case of Unleashed, this also like this almost gentle quality. It's the flexibility you have is amazing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and thank you for coming on the chat, and thanks to Square Enix for I accidentally said Enix when I started my thanks to Square Enix for making it possible. So, thank you so much, Jason, for hanging out.
Of course, yeah. It was really a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah,
and I love your cover of Close on the Distance, so.
Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you. I know guitar and voices in opera was an interesting choice, but I was like, let's try something different.
It worked. It totally worked.
I appreciate that. That was a huge deal for me, so I appreciate that a lot too. And thank you everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you later. See you guys. Bye.